Hello you who is watching this video, and welcome to this tutorial about programming in blueprints with Unreal Engine 4 to create a project for HTC Vive. So it will be a little series where I'm gonna just create a kind of melee fighting game, and so we're gonna cover up in this series how to set up the project, how to get a Vive working, how to pick up an object and stuff like that. But the first tutorial today is about setting in a project, getting the Vive working, and playing with high keybones to don't get the Rayman effect you're gonna see in the tutorial. So I'm gonna create a third person with starter content. So I'm gonna create a third person because I just want to get the main queen and the animation blueprint, which is already made. So we're gonna give it a name, random melee fight with Flydle. He create a project. So yeah, I'm working with 4.14.3, but normally it can work with like 4.13. So here we are. So first things to do, clean up the project and remove what we don't really need. So in blueprints you remove the third person characters, we don't need it. Force delete. Okay, third person game mode, just rename it game mode RMF base. So it will be my base game mode for everything. Go in project settings, map and modes, GM RMF base. That's okay. So if you want to get project settings, edit project settings here. So now we created that. So now we need to create a base class for all of our characters in the game, like the bots and the player characters. So create blueprint class character BP RMF base character. So in this class you're gonna have like everything about, like if you want to set up like max health and all the stuff like that, because the players and the bots gonna work the same way, and so everything is the same, will be for all the players will be in this one. So like it will be an integer, don't need a float. So now you got that. We're just gonna set up the mesh for the moment, because for the moment it's just about setting up the Vive. Rotate it by 80 degrees to facing up the arrow, and just set it down to 90 centimeters to get it like Alt H, and as you can see here it's set up correctly from the capsule. So go back in perspective, and now what we're gonna use is the animation blueprint. There is an animation blueprint which is given with, so we're going to main queen animations, animation blueprints here. Just select it and set it like this, and you got animation blueprints working. So we're just gonna rename it like so AB for animation blueprint base. So the advantages of this animation blueprint is they already have the state machine which is set up when you go into the hide, run, jump and stuff like that. So there is the base which is already set up, so that's what I want. So you're gonna create a child blueprint class. It will be AB VR base VR. You're gonna see later why. So just open it and go back here. In blueprints, you go back in third person BP blueprints, and BP RMS based character, create child blueprint class, and just call it BP RMF base player pawn. When this is set up, go into your game mode, save everything, and choose player pawn as your default pawn class. So now when you launch the game, you're gonna have your pawn in it. And next things to do is open your base player pawn and set up all the Vive stuff. So first thing, the Steam Chaperone, which is about getting the blue circles and the like display the real physical wall when you play like this. After, you're gonna have to set up just a scene component, which will be camera root. Next one, which is camera, so it will be the VR camera. Set up in the camera roots, take everything down like this. In fact, it will be more VR root. Now you take a new scene component. This one is hands root. It's useless. It's just to get a hierarchy when you're gonna put your two motion controllers left hand, set it here, and as you can see, you get your VR roots. The hand roots need to be 0, 0, 0 because it needs to be at the same height as the camera. It's the way the Vive works. You need to set it down, and after, depending on your own height, it's gonna set it up. So you got your left hand, okay. In the hand roots is just to hide it if you need. Duplicate it, right hand, and in the motion controller hand, choose right. That's okay for the moment. Normally it's working, but we're just gonna add two things, which is a static meshes, two static meshes, which will be left hand helper. Okay, as you can see here, you choose view options, show engine content, type cone, and you can have a cone. Choose uniform scale, point to rotate it like this, okay, and set it to 0 on the locations. Now we're just gonna do one last thing, is like hiding the mesh. You take this view like front view, you take the hands helper and you just move it forward by 10 normally, and so you know that when you take your left hand, it's right there and your hand helper is right there. So in the game, when you see the cone, you know that your hand is just at the start of the cone and it's facing like an arrow. So that's the goal of this. You can, in fact, you can use arrow if you want, but the cone is good. You can duplicate it, right hand helper, set it into right hand, and that's alright. So next thing you can do is, so just check that. Oh, I forgot one thing. You check these ones, and instead of block hole dynamic, which gonna make your characters maybe bug, set it to no collisions, and that's it. Like the mesh, collision pressing character mesh, that's perfect. So normally, yes, set it to visible again. Normally everything works fine. As you can see, we can just one last thing into geometry meshes. You just create a new folder, materials, new materials, matte base color constant 3 vectors, convert to parameters. Nope. Set it to color, category color, and that's all what we need. You apply it, save it, close it, create material instance, matte left hand, duplicate matte right hand, and when you open the left hand, you set the base colors to be like red, okay, and the right hand to be like green, and that's okay. And when you take the left hand, you take left, set it right, right, set the materials, and that's okay. So that's it. So normally at this state, if you hit plain viewer preview, you should have like take one controller, and yes, that's my left hand, but normally when you look at it, so it's okay, everything works fine. That's where I want it. So now we're gonna get our hands following the motion controller. So it's the tricky part, it's the fun part. Into your bass player pawn, sorry. So you have the heavy bass, and you're gonna set heavy bass VR. For the moment there is no difference, but it's gonna come. Main queen, animations, heavy bass VR. Open it. So you take this, you set to parent blueprints, update animations. You take try get pawn owner, cast to your bass player pawn, set it, save it, detailed panel, yes, you're gonna be there, thanks. Okay, now you have this. What we need is getting the locations of the motion controllers. We need to get the world locations of the motion controllers. So it's not hard. You said left, you take left hand, okay, get left hand, okay, get right hand, okay, get world location. You can take world location and rotation. We're gonna get world transform, same for the other, duplicate, same, and that's okay. We need now to store it, in fact. So promote to variables, call it left hand transform, okay, same for this, right hand transform, like that, plug that, rearrange it a bit, and now we got everything we want to get it works, because that's all that we need, the rotations and this. So now you need to go into your state machine. So I need to find the state machine. Okay, even grab jump starts, heavy base. Can I go to the anim graph of this heavy event graph? I can go to the anim graph override. Yeah. Yes, I want to override it a bit. Oh. No problem. Just take this. I'm sorry, I thought it will be more easy to just take it, copy it, create instead anim base. You just duplicate it. Heavy base VR, okay, underscore, and now you can play with the anim graph. Here you have the anim graph, and as you can see here you don't have the anim graph. New graph, and anim. You can play with it. Here you can override the anim graph. Well, I don't know how to do it. That's another thing. Force delete. You check back your base VR and see if valid phone owner. Okay, it's normal. Here you copy this one. You keep his in the air. You keep speed. We're gonna use it later. And you add just after that all your stuff. So cast, get the hands location, and you just redo the promoter variable left hand transform. Okay, do the same thing, promoter variable right hand transform. Okay, and we got everything fine. Now you go back in blueprints, you go back into this and just reset the base here, because as we delete it, it's not good. So now we're done that, go back into your animation blueprints. Thanks. And from there you go into the anim graph, into the anim graph, and you have the default state machine. We're gonna rename it locomotion, and you set it there. And here comes the fun parts, which is about getting our hands following the motion controllers. So first thing to do, you get is it's local to component, and here you do the inverse stuff, component to local. So what we need to do is to make an IK bone. So what's IK bones? You maybe know that when you want to get the position, location of a bone, you check the rotation, you get the location of the root bone, and you compute all the rotations of the bone, and you get finally the position of the bone. So if you want to get the position of the hand, you take the wall position of the root, add the rotation of the pelvis, spine, clavicle, upper and stuff, and when you compute all the rotation, you get the wall location of the hand. What does an IK bone? Is the inverse. You give the location, and Unreal Engine computes the needed rotation to give to the bone the location you want. Okay, so if you go into on the internet and type IK bone Unreal, so UE4 IK bones, IK setup, yeah, it's the best schema to see IK versus forward key. So FK is the normal works. So as you can see here, you get the final positions and you compute it from these rotations. IK bone, you give, oh, I want to be these positions, so we compute the rotation of the two bones here. So it's something which has existed since a long time in 3D softwares like 3ds Max and stuff like that. You can add more than two bones, but in Unreal Engine it's two bone IK, because I think it's like it uses a lot of performance to compute it, and it's more easy with two bones. But it's perfect because our arms is only two bones, because we just want to set up our hand, as you can see. So we just have the lower arm, the hand, and the position of the upper arm. So what we're gonna do, first take this, slide it, and say IK, and you can have two bone IK, or there is a, I never tried it, but there is a hand IK retargeting. Yeah, but I don't care about this one. you check the two bone IK. So effector location is the final location which you want your hand to be. So we're gonna set it for the left hand. Get here, you select this one, choose the good bone, so on L, and what we want, you split the structures, left hand transform location, set it. Okay, so as we get the world location here, we get the world location, world transform, so it's world location of the hand. We're gonna set this one in effector location space. It's not component space but world space, so we're gonna say it's component space. It's from the look, it's about the your actor. So if you get the world transform, if you get the relative transform, you can use component space normally, but it's world transform works really fine, you don't need more. And the joint target location, we're just gonna set it as variables, so promote variables, left hand joint target location. We're gonna see what it is exactly just later, and you're gonna see. So for the moment, okay, so it's not component space but world space, okay, and joint target, you can set it to component space, just let it, and we don't need a alpha because we override it totally, so it will be alpha 1. We don't want, because the alpha is used like if you want to get the base animations and a bit of the high K bones, you can use the alpha to set it, but we want to override, totally override the base animations. So just move this here. So it's a thing, that's it. The next thing we want is to modify the rotation of our hand, because we need our hand following the rotations of the motion controller. So you said modify, transform modify bone. Here select it, you remove translation, you skip rotation, you remove scale, and you keep alpha. You remove the alpha, sorry. Yeah. Rotation mode, replace existing. Component space, world space, because we get the world rotation. And you set it. And you just said plus, no, it's combine rotators. You can now it just set it, okay. And you're gonna see something. So it's our left hand, so I'm gonna plug it here. So as you can see, the position of the hand moves. Alright, so the thing is, why are you must pick up a bone. Yeah, I forgot to pick up the hand. Okay, that's it. And now when you try it, normally instead playing in VR, and it's no, I get the wrong controllers. So as you can see here, my hand is working and I got the rotations, but we can see with the cone, but if you play it you can understand that the hand shouldn't be like that. The way I hold the controller, it shouldn't be like this. Normally the hand should be more like something like this, but in fact, wait a minute, is that the good hand? Yes. So the hand, normally I'm right there. Sorry, the camera wasn't at the good place. So normally I'm like, where is your head? Here. I'm right there. So as you can see, the hand, as it's the left one, should be like this, and I'm like this. So that's the problem, is that the world rotations does not really follow it, but it's not a real problem. We just need to do 180 degrees like this. But as you can see, your arm bends in a really strange way, but that's what we're gonna tweak just later. But as you can see, there is a little bit of latency. It's not a real problem because here we have the cone who show the real position of the hand, but later we will not have the cone, so it's not a real problem. Oh, I got heroes. set lift and transform. Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot something. These errors come because of like, you need to do this. If you don't want this error comes, you need to check if they are valid. This error comes just during the initializations. It's like the motion controller are not totally created, but the mesh is created in the engine, so it tries to get the position of the motion controller which is not initialized. So just do this and you have no errors. So it's not a real bug, but it's better to avoid every errors that you can. So what we need to do is to return our hand. So you set one, modify, transform, bone. In fact, no, just duplicate it. Take this one, and here replace existing, as you can see. Add to existing, sorry, you said add to existing. I just want to add, not wall space but component space. Okay, no, sorry, bone space, because you want to return the hand. So you got the rotations of the bone coming, okay, and you want to say, hey, I want to rotate it. So you can say replace existing because we are in bone space. So when you pass by transform modify bone, you set up the rotations, so the bone space change. So you got your hand like that when you see it. So we're gonna make a rotation around x-axis, and here if I'm set in bone space, in component space, it's the local space. So when your motion controllers apply the rotations like this, it's modify the bone space. In fact, it's really modify the bone space. So you can set here, you can set as bone space replace existing. It will work. Like if you set 0 0 0, it will remain the same, but we want to add on x-axis 180. That's okay. And normally if you hit play again and you got your hand, and okay, it's the wrong one. Okay, thanks. And now normally if you hand your controllers, it should be good. As you can see, you have your hand following pretty good. So everything works fine. You just save everything, and we're gonna do the same for the left hand, and you're gonna see that it's not exactly the same. So what you can do is, in fact, take everything, say okay, like this, that's okay. So don't forget to change the bone. You take hand right, you take hand right. Where is hand right? Hand right, and surprise, you take hand right. So now that's okay. You take the right and transform, get, split, location, rotation, and there you set 0 to this one. So you're gonna see what will be the brand new problems you're gonna get is whoops, here your hand is like, what the fuck? So you need to return it like this. So it's the total opposite, as you can see. So it will be normally z-axis or something like that, 180 degrees on the z-axis. Okay, so to do it easy, you take the hand right, zoom in, and as you can see, it will not be the z-axis but the y-axis, because as you can understand, our hands is like that. We need to be like this. So it will be 180 degrees on the sorry, that's the z-axis. We rotate about around the z-axis. So yeah, so z-axis 180, and that's right. And normally when you say play, you take the rule and that's okay. We got our hands working. Hey. So now we're gonna correct some stuff. So the thing is, as we see before, our arms bend in a really strange way. That's because of joint target location. So we're gonna create promote variable right hand joint target location. Okay. So joint target location, which normally is here, as you can see, is component space. That's better, because if you said world space, it will be strange. You're gonna see why. So the joint target from the schema. So here is your effector location, is this red cross, and the joint target is how do I bend the two bones. So in fact the joint target effect is around the middle of the two bones. It's this part. So you tell the engine you bend to be like you bend to try to reach this position. So you will never get a realistic bending, like you can't get how people bend their arms in real life, because you don't have enough sensors on the Vive. You will normally need to have sensors on your elbow and stuff like that. So the thing is, we're gonna do our best. So to do so, you unplug effector locations, okay, and here you just enter a location, like it's just to have fun. And so 200 is maybe a bit too big. Okay, where are our hand now? Yeah, 50, 100, okay, 20, something, something like this is not that bad. As you can see, the position of my hand is not that bad. But as you can see, in component space, so in component space, our target locations try to bend the elbow in the middle of the body, which is not a really good thing. But so in component space it will be like on the X. So if I said 100 on the X, as you can see, it just set an offset or where I want to bend the elbow. Okay, so when you select this, normally, if I have good memories, you can get the effector location normally, but not this time. But still, in fact, it's about tweaking. So the good thing to do is to set the Y locations to 0. So it's like when you get your arms like this, how you want it to bend. So it's just about you, how do you want to do it. So for me, most of the time I set the bending like in the height, so I don't change the height to get the good height for the elbow. It's at 0, it's pretty good, but you try to set it just in the near, like here in the back of the character, so just like -5, it's okay. So as you can see, well, you can set -20 or maybe -100. You can do it whatever you want. So it will try to bend it like this. So as you can see, if I play with that, like if I want my hand to be 200, you're gonna do not bend it. You're gonna bend it really well, but that's not bad. If you say to 100 again, but I want it to be like really backward, it's nearly impossible. But it's bend it like this. If I want it to be like 20, it's bend it like this. So these sets of values are not that bad. After, it's just about tweaking, and it's about you, how you want to get it. So you plug back left and transform locations, and now that you have this, so for me -100 and -100, 0 is okay. So it's about this, it's almost the same. You said -100, yeah, sorry, it was -100 and -100 for the hex, because it's the opposite, -100. And normally when you set this one to like 100, I don't know, 100, okay, compile, oops, so minus 100 or minus 20, maybe that's okay. As you can see, it's okay. So you can plug this back in, compile it, and normally when you play it in VR, you should have a good effect. As you can see, that's okay. When I do this stuff like this, that's pretty fine. So that's it for today. That's it for this tutorial. Thanks for looking, thanks for watching, and we're gonna see how to get the body following the Vive and get a proper setup to this. So because I want this game to be playable in network, like multiplayer, so I want people see the body of other players. So we're gonna do our best to get it working pretty well. And one last thing I didn't do, yeah, I forgot to tell you that the problem is with the animation blueprints of Unreal Engine is that, as you can see, when you take the top view, the shoulders are not aligned, which is a real problem because people don't really play like that. As you can understand, most of the time they are facing what they are looking at. So the things to do is to correct this one before you apply all your stuff. So you take that, you said modify bone, transform modify bone, set this, so there is no translations, there is no scale, there is no alpha. You said it replace existing, you choose a bone. So normally the bone is like show bones or hierarchy, and you change this one, only the maybe the spine, maybe spine 2, maybe spine 3, it's as you want. The only thing maybe, but spine 3, so you know that if spine 3 is to 0, your elbow will be at 0 too. So choose spine 0 3, replace existing 0 0 0, and when you set it, as you can see, you got a real problem. Your characters like this. So you need to component space, as you can see, and it's about y-axis 80 degrees, and now your character is okay. And when you take the top view, your character is pretty okay, in fact. So it's the same thing about like your characters is breathing, and in real time you don't breathe like this. Normally you don't move your body when you breathe, or maybe you breathe a lot. Like when you do sports, that's normal, but when you're idling, it's really strange. But now, as you can see, it will be better because our shoulders are aligned. So the thing is, it's really hard to set up a mesh with VR because you don't have a lot of sensors, so it's about tweaking and getting the best effect. And yeah, that's it. So you will never have something perfect, but you can try to reach it. So again, thank you for watching, and see you in the next tutorial when we're gonna use a bit of animation bending for crouching and body following the players. So we're gonna set it to follow the head, so the rotation will be about how the heads work and stuff like that. So yeah, thanks, bye.